We got back from Sileby on the 23rd of September at around about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but by 5 o'clock it had started to rain, and it's been raining on and off for 2 weeks. In fact, the Canal and River Trust have put a stoppage notice on the Upper Trent, so it is impossible for any of the boats to leave the marina. You can see from the photograph it was very difficult to get on to the pontoon to get to the boats at all, but with a bit of ingenuity we were able to bridge the gap and get onto the boats, so I could spend some time just doing some general cleaning and maintenance work and take the opportunity to have a good look around the boat. With the time on my hands, I decided to work my way through the boat, starting at the bow and going right through to the stern. I'd already started some work here to cover over a small hole which was letting in a little bit of water. I had filled it with an epoxy resin, then covered it over with 3 layers of fiberglass matting. It was now ready for painting. I just needed to rub it down with a wire brush and smooth it over with some sandpaper. I then applied a coat of grey primer paint and let that dry overnight. The next day I came back and I applied a coat of white coach enamel, which would dry very hard and give a really good shine to this little bit of storage space on the boat. I then set about doing the same thing to the undersea storage areas on both sides of the boat. These are really useful for tucking away sleeping bags and blankets. Whilst that was all drying, I turned my attention to the engine well at the back of the boat to clear it out and get some paint on that also. I decided to re-sight the gas bottle and mount it on the back of the boat with the spare. This caused me to remove the old rubber gas tubing and replace it with some dated 2019. I bought another gas bottle holder and fixed it to the transom. This will give me more room when tilting the engine. Back in the cuddy, I was now able to get on with clearing out the cupboard under the sink, applying some grey primer and getting that all painted up and looking a bit smarter. The catch on this little cupboard has always been a bit of a nuisance, so now was time to change it and put on a little brass bolt. Whilst all that was drying, I was now able to do some painting on the deck and paint the sides of the boat. It had always been my intention to retain the traditional look of the deck, but I decided to brighten it up a little bit by adding some gold edging. We start this little tour underneath the front deck. This area underneath the cushions contains all the other parts of the mattress that make up the bed. These are the ducks that once sat on the roof of the boat. And that's the little cool box which normally sits at the back of the boat on the deck when it's in use. I created at the side of the sink just a little area to stand a few cups and plates and things like that out of a couple of trays. This is my little Uco heater, which not only keeps the cuddy warm but also will heat a kettle of water for washing up purposes and also produces some extra radiant heat. There are all kinds of little cubby holes and hidey hole spaces in the boat for putting things. These are behind the cushions and are perfect places for storing clothing, and they're on both sides of the boat. Nicely tucked away, they keep the boat looking quite tidy. This is the little under sink cupboard that I've painted out, and it contains the boat's water container. And on the other side are the usual pots and pans and cleaning materials that everybody keeps under the sink. This little cupboard here is very useful for keeping dry food. And then there's the all important little room. Yes, it's still raining. This little cupboard that I built again contains space for food storage, and underneath we've got all the things like the windlass, the mooring pins, and then various lubricants and oils for the engine. The main battery switch is here, and the controls for the solar panels, and on the other side I have a little device which gives an indication of the state of the batteries. And on the ceiling there is my shower curtain rail. So thank you for watching. I do hope that the weather improves soon and we can bring you some of the adventures that we have planned.